And here is the Writer's Almanac for Monday. It's the 4th of April, 2022. It's the birthday of the poet Maya Angelou, born St. Louis. 3 years old, her parents' marriage ended. Her father put Angelou and her brother on a train, sent them to a town in Arkansas to live with their grandparents. When she was 7 years old, her mother's boyfriend raped her, and she told her family, and the man was murdered, possibly by her uncles, and Angelou felt responsible. She stopped speaking for 5 years. She said, "I thought my voice killed him. I killed that man because I told his name, and then I thought I would never speak again because my voice would kill anyone." She wrote about it in her autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. It came out in 1969. It was on this day, 1832, Charles Darwin, traveling aboard the HMS Beagle, landed on the shores of Rio de Janeiro. He was on a long trip, 5 years, off to the Galapagos Islands. He had been planning to be a doctor, but he discovered he couldn't stand the sight of blood or human suffering. He decided to become a clergyman so that he could pursue his interest in natural history out in the countryside of England. He landed in port in Rio on this day, 1832, stayed until June. It was hot in Rio, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. He became ill. He was cured overnight by cinnamon and port wine, he recorded in his diary. He collected 68 different species of beetles when he was there, and he came across a parasitic wasp laying eggs inside a live caterpillar, which would be eaten alive by the grubs after they hatched, which somehow challenged his belief in God. Darwin himself sampled many of the animals he encountered on the islands that he visited. He ate armadillos, iguanas, giant tortoises, rodents, which he said were the best meat he ever tasted, and a puma, which was like veal. Reached the Galapagos Islands 3 years later, 1835, and then in 1859 published his book on the origin of species. It's the birthday of Robert E. Sherwood, born New Rochelle, New York, 1896, author of plays on the moral implications of war, including Abe Lincoln in Illinois, and There Shall Be No Night. And it's the birthday of the novelist Marguerite Duras, born to French parents near Saigon, 1914, who, when she was a teenager, became lovers with an older Chinese man whom she met on a ferry, and she wrote about him for the rest of her life in books, including The Lover, which was an international bestseller and which eventually was made into a movie. Here's a poem for today by Andrew Marvell, Thoughts in a Garden. What wondrous life is this I lead? Ripe apples drop about my head. The luscious clusters of the vine upon my mouth do crush their wine. The nectarine and curious peach into my hands themselves do reach, stumbling on melons as I pass, ensnared with flowers I fall on grass. Meanwhile, the mind from pleasure less withdraws into its happiness. The mind, that ocean where each kind does straight its own resemblance find. Yet it creates, transcending these, far other worlds and other seas, annihilating all that's made to a green thought in a green shade. Andrew Marvell's poem, Thoughts in a Garden. And that's the Writer's Almanac for Monday, April the 4th. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.